This sucks, and it's horseshit. But I'm too polite to say anything, because I'm a class act.
Well, that's the first thing I thought of when I saw the news that Malik Chippy, my neighbors, may have potentially sprained his ankle or got himself a little bit of an owie. This is Tim, this New York Giants Straight Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. So the news out of training camp is Malik Nabers leaped off the field with an ankle sprain. Giants don't seem to be too worried, but there will be an x-ray. There will be an MRI. Of course, that's exactly what you're going to have happen. It happened with the last 20 minutes of the practice, so he did not return to practice for those 20 minutes. He took it off his left shoe, and the trainers looked at his lower leg, and he basically just limped away. So, you know, I think we got a moment of a reality check. And the good news is he was able to go do an interview afterwards with Up and Adams, with Kay Adams, on YouTube after the practice, but he didn't address the injury at that point in time either. But it's one of those things you felt the collective, or a portion of the collective Giant base, fall off the bandwagon for 2024 when they potentially saw there was some issues with Malik's ankle. And it was almost that proverbial waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I kind of was thinking about it. And I was thinking about offense and defense, and how there is there's basically two players on this team that if we do not have them either on offense or defense, we're not surviving. And that's a bad way to go into the 2024 season for the New York Football Giants. Now, you think about it immediately, offensively, it's going to be Malik Nabers. If you don't have Malik Nabers, if you have to rely on the likes of Hyatt and Slayton and Hodges and everyone else, and Wanda Robinson, people we relied on last year with the quarterback being Daniel Jones, you're kind of reached screwed level. And it shows the Giants in year 3 of the Shane era have not made that jump into even above average or average NFL team, because when you are relying, we talked about this in the live stream on Sunday, when you are relying on a rookie to come in here and resuscitate not only your offense, but your quarterback's career and the entire offense for the 2024 season, that's a big ask. And the worst thing is, if something does happen and he goes down for any period of time with an injury, everything you built towards in 2024, you're basically telling me is gone because of the fact that you don't have this one kid. So you are structuring the success of your offense around Malik Nabers, which is silly. You're expecting, like I said, to cure the ills of your quarterback, to help fix the offensive line, to find a running game, and to find some continuity in the offense. And if he can't do that, what is this offense even going to look like? And if he can't do it either via injury or the fact that he's just double teamed on every single play, that's not a good way to build a roster through the draft or through the depth purposes. You should have the ability to rely on players, and there shouldn't be a collective gasp when one player goes down unless that player is your quarterback. And the scary thing is, if we had our quarterback go down, I don't think too many people would miss a beat. We actually played better without Daniel Jones. If you lost Kayvon Thibodeau, I don't think the defense would miss a beat. I think in some regards, it would hurt to lose Dexter Lawrence, but it's not going to be the end of the world because you have guys that can fill in, and then you would also still have your bookend defensive ends. But when you're sitting there and we are just relying on one guy to save everything, and honestly, it was an epiphany that I had the other day during the stream on Sunday. That's not a good way to play football. That is a bad way to build a franchise. You build your franchise, of course, through the draft. You augment it through free agency, and you build it through depth. You have good starting pieces, then you bring in depth, and then you have depth pieces. We just don't have those depth pieces, and we are worried that a 21-year-old kid who has yet to take an NFL snap is going to be the offensive savior. And then I was thinking about the defense. If we lose Banks, what do we have? You already have the likes of potentially Cordell Flott and Darnay Holmes and Phillips going to be starting on this team. Deonte Banks is your stalwart in that defensive secondary in reference to the cornerbacks. He goes down. You have no depth behind. You cannot tell me you're going to start the likes of Phillips and Flott on the outside and not have NFL pro quarterbacks salivate. Thinking about going with that and thinking about the fact that you also have behind them Dane Belton and Jason Pinnock. So it's once again, if you think about with Banks, if Banks was to ever go down vis-a-vis injury, your defense is pretty much screwed unless you're going to somehow figure out how to get a Dory Jackson back in here. This team is constructed in such a weird way. We've talked about the salary cap. We talked about the salary cap ad nauseum. The Giants, I have like $9 million in cap space right now, whatever it is. I forget exactly. But I always tell people, again, we've talked about it a million times. That's without the rule of 51. With the rule of 51, the rule of 51 goes away. You're negative 25 to 27 million, depending on the contracts. And then Joe Shane likes to have the $10 million in operational cap space. So you're going to be anywhere between negative 35 and negative 37 million. You could potentially be negative 35 to 37 million in cap space when camp breaks. Because once the rule of 51 breaks, you need to be under the once training camp breaks, you need to be under the cap. So we've spent this money on I don't know what. And we have this situation where we are limited in depth, we are limited in talent, and we are limited in cap space in year 3 of this regime. We let quality talent walk away with the likes of Barkley and Xavier McKinney. And if you want to go even the year before with Julian Love. And we've drafted, but we have not drafted well enough to have these guys replacements. But I just find it perplexing that in this day and age that we are really limiting ourselves in reference to literally you out of 53 men, you lose 2 guys, your season could be over right away. You could be over right away. And it's truly kind of weird. Daniel Jones had a bad practice, 13 to 23. He hit a couple of long touchdowns. They're saying one was the Malik Nabers catch that was the leaping catch that caused the sprained ankle. Bobby Okereke also almost had an interception. Pinnock had an interception. So it just comes and the hits just keep on rolling. So we have to wait and see what's kind of happened. Evan Neal was his first practice at camp. I think the same with Schmitz as well. He missed the last 8, so they were involved in some individual drills. Drew Lock did not practice. Neither did Cordell Flott. Neither did Owens. Neither did Johnson. These are all people that did not practice today, or yesterday, I should say, on Sunday. You want to think there's a light at the end of the tunnel for this team, but the way it's constructed and the way it's built vis-a-vis depth and the fact that you're relying on a second-year corner and a first-year wide receiver to resuscitate not only your offense, but your defense, but your quarterback, but the life of the franchise itself. It's not, you know what? Blade said it best.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
And that's what I feel like we're doing sometimes. We're ice skating uphill. And again, this is Tim. This is New York Giants Straight Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. And don't forget to like, subscribe. Don't forget to ring that bell if you want to know why. That'd be awesome.